Hey guys, I am going to talk to you a little bit today about sourdough. Now, I know sourdough is like a controversial thing, and I think a lot of people really overcomplicate it. So, today I'm going to show you my easy, pretty much foolproof method of sourdough. Um, I do start out with a dehydrated starter. That's how I started my sourdough, and I'm going to show you mine. Now, granted, this sourdough is a couple of years old, and at first I was really faithful about like continually um, feeding it and taking care of it. But over the last few months, life has just been life. So this has been left out on my counter like a lot of times. So today it hadn't been fed in like 4 days. So I had to actually pour it into a different jar. I cleaned off all the crusty that was on top and poured it into a different jar. And I'm letting my jar that I normally use, which is the normal jar, is probably about that big. It's really big, um, and I'm just letting that soak in the sink because of my lack of care for it. It's really gotten gross around the edges, but it still smelled good, and so I knew that because it smelled good and there was no mold, that it was still safe for me to use. So I just dumped it in this. This is the old nasty stuff that come out of the top, but you can tell it still looks good. And it still smells good. So that's the main thing with sourdough, like to make sure it smells good. And it has a very distinct smell. You'll know if it's good or bad. So anyway, this is my sourdough and it will grow and it'll probably overflow tonight because my sourdough is really established. But by in the morning, I'll be able to put it back in its original jar. And I get these off of Etsy. Like I use these cup covers, and I can actually link the Etsy shop I get these from. They're really reasonable. I think this was like $5, and this is a wide mouth. And yeah, that's what I use for my sourdough. So my girls here, this is my oldest little daughter. Since we have 9 children, we have like an older set, and then we have these younger set, these reversal babies. So this is Emily. She is the oldest of our younger kids. And then our youngest daughter, Sarah, they've been wanting sourdough. And so I do sell a dehydrated starter on my Etsy. And the kids have been asking, the girls have been asking, hey, can we have a starter? Can you help us start our own sourdough? And, you know, I'm a mom, I'm busy, and I'm just like, yeah, I'll do it. But I never get around to it. And it's really not that big of a deal. But, you know, when you got all the things going on in the house and just everything that has to be done, it just feels sometimes like just one more task that you have to like jump through a hurdle to get to. But today I told the girls, I said, look, you want to do your sourdough? We'll go ahead and do it. So what I did the other day is I took 2 mason jars, and the girls had, these are some of my other covers that I had also bought from the same lady. I think it's Kathysheartcreations, but like I said, I'll link that below. These are just like regular. She sells regular and wide mouth, plus she sells bowl covers, and she also does special orders. So these are just my regular size covers, and the girls had asked for their own cover, their own jar, their own sourdough. So the other night, I just put these together for them, and I had some dark chocolate, and I put that inside the jar, and I just made this little gift kit for them. And then I called them into the kitchen, and I had these sitting out for a surprise. Well, you know, the chocolate is gone. It was actually gone that night, and the boys, my little boys, actually got some chocolate too, but they didn't get sourdough. They have no interest in it. And if they did, I would definitely let them start it because cooking is a great skill for anyone to have, especially making bread. I don't even really make bread out of it too much. I actually make like cookies, and I throw it in pancake mix, pizza crust. Like I put it in pretty much anything that has dough in it. I just drop some in, not necessarily even if the recipe calls for it, but it has so many health benefits that that's a great way to sneak it in if you're not keen on the flavor of sourdough, which personally I'm not. So anyway, these are for my girls. And if you're wondering, we're like hanging off the chair back here. I'm like hanging off of her chair because if I stand up, I'm too tall, and then it just, you don't see my head. So we're going to do this. We're going to get this started. And I'm just going to quickly tell you, I have some instructions, and anybody that buys my sourdough on my Etsy, you get the rehydration instructions with it. So this just talks about how to rehydrate your sourdough. And the first thing we're going to do is add our starter, which is this, and we're going to add 1/2 cup of water. So I'm going to let you girls, I'm going to scoop this out of the way, and y'all can go ahead and get your starter out. Go ahead. Yep. Get your starter out and dump it in the, let's see, how do you open it? Oh, yeah. Go ahead. It's kind of hard to open. And now, the amount of starter I put in here, I think, is like a tablespoon, or I think it's 2 tablespoons. So technically, this is enough for 2. You could make like 2 starters from this, like a tablespoon in one starter in one jar, a tablespoon in the other. But my girls are really, they're ready to get started. So if you do dump like the whole thing over in there, which is 2 tablespoons, it's very prolific. It grows quick. And have you got it? And then it really, you can use it a whole lot sooner. So, okay. Just dump it in your jars. Make sure you get it all in there. Got it? And move your little fingers. Okay. Awesome. Sorry if I poked you in the eye. Sorry about that. This is real life, people. And I really don't know how to edit. So you get to see all the stupid bloopers that will come along with this, because I'm not going to edit it out. So anyway, so they've got their sourdough, and it pretty much takes up the bottom of their little jars. Okay, and I personally use organic unbleached flour. I never fed mine with anything other than organic all-purpose flour. Some people use bread flour. Some people use just regular all-purpose flour. Some people swap it up. I don't. I know that you can also use wheat, but I think whatever you start with, you need to continue with. So we're going to be using our organic all-purpose starter. And let's see here. So it's calling for 3/4 cup of the starter, of the flour, I mean. So we're just going to measure. And I will say this, like with my sourdough, once my sourdough is established, like truly established, I never weighed my sourdough. Like I was never one weighing the grams or, you know, whatever. Like I never did that, but I did make sure that I measured everything accurately for quite some time. But after my starter got established and it was a good starter and I knew it, I pretty much can gauge how much I need to put in it without measurements. So like for my particular starter, you know, I have this little cup, and I think this is a 3/4 cup. Actually, it is. This is a 3/4 cup measuring cup, and I know that what I'm going to do is I fill this up to the top, and then I fill it up about halfway again, and that's what I dump in mine when I feed it. And then I run the water in it, and I use tap water. You can use, you know, whatever kind of water you prefer, but I use tap water, and I just run it for about 20 seconds, 25 seconds, and then I can stir it, and I can tell what it needs and what it doesn't need. And if it's too thick, I'll add a little bit more water. If it's too thin, I'll add a little bit more flour. And it's really just something, it's a learning curve. So we've got 3/4 cup. You want to pour it? Okay. Oh boy. And we're already making our first mess, because why not? Let's see. Let me get it in here. I should have used a funnel, but I didn't. Again, this is real life, and I'm just doing with what I have. And yeah. So there's that. And we're going to put, that's good, because it was actually a little bit over 3/4. So that's actually good. There wasn't much spilled on the table. This is fine. And I'm going to do the same for you. Okay. You want me to pour it, or you want to let's go ahead and pour it, and just pour it slowly, like, yeah, kind of angle it. Uh-oh. Try to, you got it? Okay. 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 Let's see. You need a paper towel. You just wipe your hands off. Okay. So now that we have that, we've got the flour, the starter, dehydrated starter, our flour, and now we're going to, it says mix well. So I'll just take this and mix it up in there, get that starter kind of going around in there. Okay. Alrighty. And now I'm going to add in a half a cup of water. So I've got a cup in here, so I'm just going to pour down to where, well, we'll just go ahead and use this. Yep. Cup. Make sure. Yep. All right. So, got that taken care of. And I'm just going to do this for time's sake, girls, and y'all can see. So when I start mixing, even my own, I'm careful to, you want to make sure that you get all the water incorporated into your starter, whether you are starting one from scratch, like a dehydrated one, or you can make your own. Like there's recipes to where you can make your own, and it's a little bit different. I have my daughter, one of my older daughters, she actually made her own, and it just wasn't her jam. She didn't keep up with it, but it actually worked the first time. So, and like to me, I am used to the starter being a lot more moist than this. So to me, I'm kind of like, whoa, it's like pretty dry. But I do know that at first, that's perfectly normal. But I do think this needs a little bit more water. Okay, so we'll get more water. Now yours looks different, so I think yours needs just a little bit more water. Okay. So while I'm mixing these up, once they're mixed up really good and I'm satisfied with the consistency, we're going to put our, we'll put our lids on them. And the thing with new sourdough is you have to be very consistent with feeding. So you're going to have to feed this every 8 to 12 hours. So I'm going to say, like if we, just for us, I know that this starter was really good. So we probably won't feed this again until in the morning. Since this is new and I want to give that time to absorb in the starter, and her consistency, Sarah's consistency here is a lot better for a new starter. So I am going to add a little bit more water to yours. Okay. So Sarah's looks pretty good. This is what it should look like if it's dehydrated. It should be pretty fluid. And so hers will go on the counter. We're going to let it sit. We'll let it sit till in the morning. And then Emily's, Emily's is a little bit thicker, but I'm going to put some more water in hers, just a tad more water, stir it up. And so my instructions say once it sits on the counter for, say, 8 to 12 hours. So for us in the morning, we're going to get up, we're going to dump half of this mixture out, And then we're going to feed it with 3/4 cup flour and another 1/2 cup of water. And we're just going to repeat this over and over until we see that it is like bubbly and active. And you can see if you go on my Instagram, I'll try to link my Instagram. I have a video, like a reel of my sourdough, and like you can see the consistency of that particular sourdough was on point. It was perfect. But once you know about it, you'll be able to tell. Like a lot of people try to overcomplicate it, and I'm not saying it's not complicated, especially if you're making a starter from scratch and you're just starting from the ground up. It's definitely, it can be a big deal. I did, and I was fortunate to where I could buy a rehydrated starter from a lady, and I've just built off of that. And honestly, I enjoy doing it, even though I don't use it a lot. So, if you want to learn more about sourdough, there are several people that I could recommend you check out on YouTube. I'll definitely try to link some of those people down below, if I can find out how to do that. If I can figure it out, I'll try to link these sourdough YouTubers. But if I don't, or if you just want to go ahead, you can just YouTube sourdough. And yeah, it's not that hard. But anyway, I wanted to ask the girls what are they looking forward to making with their sourdough. And I don't know if I mentioned it or not. It may actually take 5 to 7, maybe even 10 days to get a good starter, if you're rehydrating. And if you're starting from scratch, then that's a whole different ball game. And maybe one day I'll make a video on that. I do know how to do it. It's just not my thing. So what are you most looking forward to with your sourdough, about making?
I'm looking forward to doing homemade bread.
Oh, okay. Alrighty. Sorry if you hear my cat in the background. Yeah, she's a little loony. What are you looking forward to making, Sarah?
Chocolate chip cookies.
Sarah's looking forward to making chocolate chip cookies. Emily's looking forward to making bread. I really love making cakes and desserts, like I said earlier. So maybe one day we can do a video and show you what we make. And I will come back. We will come back and show you the girls' sourdough and how long it takes. And we'll go from there with that. So if you have any questions, feel free to just drop them below in the comments, or you're always welcome to message me. Go over on Instagram, message me there. Whatever you need to do. But I appreciate you taking the time to watch our video, and I hope you have a great, great, great rest of your day.